1971 to 1974. Strat-O-Matic Excel Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Trawler.
AL Wildcard, Blue Jays at A's.
Welcome back, baseball fans. 1971-74 Carryover League into the playoffs. We are in the final wild card matchup in the American League. The lowest seed Toronto Blue Jays are number 6 seed against the number 3 seed Oakland A's, who could not get a bye in the 71, as Baltimore and Detroit got them in the American League. Let's take a look at the overall standings. As we've gotten to this point in the American League, we know that the Yankees, the 5 seed, well, they got knocked out 3-1 to the White Sox. And White Sox are going to be a nice story moving forward, as they'll have Wilbur Wood pitching on 2 days rest the rest of this playoffs, which is a big advantage. So they go from being kind of in a huge slump, and suddenly now they're kind of like the team nobody wants to play, I guess you could say. Oakland is red hot. They buried those White Sox 4 straight games to get 24 wins. They couldn't quite catch Baltimore or Detroit for a bye. So your Tigers and Orioles are 1-2. If you had to seed teams in this timeline in the American League, you might pick, the A's, the Orioles, the Tigers, and maybe the White Sox at 4. That kind of makes some sense. It's pretty close. I don't think there's anybody else in here that is, maybe the Twins. But, yeah, that seems to be the cream of the crop of the American League. In the postseason tourney, how these teams got here, in the first round, Toronto, they beat up on the Baltimore Orioles 4-2. However, it didn't eliminate the Orioles. It just put them ahead of the Orioles. Then they would play Detroit as a battle of top seeds, and lost 3-1. That put them back in the wild card hunt, and so they had to play in the third round to get back to a division title, perhaps. Couldn't quite catch it. They needed to win 2 straight over the Expos. They beat the Expos 2-1, so they fall just a half game back of Baltimore and the Yankees for the division, end up with a wild card. And the Oakland A's were doing pretty much nothing all year. They would go up against the California Angels and beat them 3-2 in a rather lackluster performance against the clearly underperforming California Angel team. Then they had their big moment in the second portion of the tournament by beating the White Sox 4 straight, which is where we are at right now. You see the overall records before we start anything. The Blue Jays at 24-16, as are the A's. Are tied, folks. Who would have thought? Your dynasty A's are tied with a fictional, I want to call them fictional, but you get the idea. Toronto did not exist in the early 70s, so we gave them a team, and boy, did we ever give them a good team. Sometimes you just don't know. I mean, you look at the cards and you're like, this team could be awful. Lose 100 games. But these Blue Jays have a lot of that 69 Mets about them. They're built with extra Met hitters and extra Oriole pitchers, and that's a good remedy. And the A's are just the dynasty A's, folks. My goodness. And now they are red hot. They can't come in this series any hotter. Let's look at the pitching matchup. So the A's actually got a day off, or 2 or 3. Because once they beat the White Sox 4 straight, they clinched the division, so they've had time off. So they've retooled their rotation with Vita Blue at the top. The Blue Jays have been playing baseball this whole time, and they just played in the third round of the tournament. Carl Morton played them into the playoffs, into that wild card. So they just have a day off after that game, and now they have to send Jerry Royce out there. So Toronto's going to go Royce, and then you go back to your number 1 guy, Alexander, number 2, Clyde Wright, number 3, Morton, and then Royce again. Meanwhile, Oakland, they're just dialing up Blue, Hunter, Holtzman, McLaughlin, and Blue. The only hope the Blue Jays have is that it's a short 5-game series. If it was a 7-game series, it would be even more difficult to beat this team. But when you look at it, it's a 5-game series, and Lynn McLaughlin has to pitch as many games as Ken Holtzman or Catfish Hunter. So that's a good sign for your Blue Jays if you're thinking of an upset. Alexander's ERA is about the same as Catfish Hunter, and Clyde Wright and Kenny Holtzman are pretty closely matched. The only obvious advantage is Vida Blue over Jerry Royce, and that's something that Toronto's going to have to overcome. Best of 5, we're going to give you game 1, as we've been doing, and then we'll get you into an elimination moment in the first time it comes up, and then all games following. So leading off, the lineup against lefties, Toronto goes with the DH, Carl Taylor leading off. 67, he strikes out. Tim Foley. 1-6 for Foley is a base hit. He is a B stealer. You got Tennis has got a 0 arm, so you could be aggressive here, but we're going to let Mike Lum, the all-star, swing away. 67's a strikeout, and with 2 outs, you got Milt May, and we're going to let him swing away as well. 46 off of Blue, triple 1-2, single the rest, it's a single. We'll put runners on the corners for Tommy A.G., hoping for some Miracle Met magic here with 2 on and 2 outs, Tommy A.G. 66th, but it's another strikeout in the 6th column off of Blue. Bottom of 1, it's Joe Foy, leading off against lefties. He strikes out. Campaneris strikes out. And Orlando Cepeda, 210, bounces back to the mound. Nice start, Jerry Royce. Top of 2, Jim Brazil, 68K. Got to stay out of that column, Toronto, or you're going to be shut out. Yvonne Morel, 63, pitcher X. And yeah, he's a 0. Don't even have to roll. And with 2 outs, Monzon. If you're wondering about that, 35 walk. Yeah, you could get a hit off of any 2 pitcher, but one of my home field advantages is if you're an E0 pitcher, it's automatic GBA. It just speeds up everything for me. Everybody gets to be a home and away team, so it's not really a advantage or disadvantage. Hal Lanier, 2-7, is a pop to third. Reggie Jackson, 49, is a walk off the Royce card. He is an A stealer. Milt May's got a nice throwing arm. It's Joe Rudy. 3-6 for Rudy is single 1-12. He lines out on an 18. Claudio Washington getting a start against the lefty Royce, who's not particularly good against lefties. 2-10 for Claudio Washington, though, flies to right. And with 2 outs, it's Sal Bando, 58. Second X, your second baseman today, Monzon, is a 4-11. But that's a single ... Can't be doing that against the Oakland A's if you want to be spoiler. 2 on, 2 outs for Mike Hegan. 5-11 off of Royce is a K. Top of the 3rd, it's Carl Taylor. 68 is a K. How many 6 columns is that? Tim Foley, 33, bounces out. And Mike Lum, 4-11. Right X. Reggie, 2E9 in right field. 2 makes the catch. Bottom of the 3rd, Gene Tennis, 39. That's a walk. One of his 101 walks in 73. Joe Foy, number 9 hitter. Tennis is batting 9th. That's how good this souped-up A's team is. Joe Foy, 1-7. Let's take a look at this Foy card. Nice little acquisition. Was on the waivers. We had him playing for the Mets a little bit. He was a Washington Senator for a little bit. Played on some expansion teams. Never really found a home. And frankly, the A's love their on-base machine guys, and Joe Foy really fits that profile. He just seems like an Oakland A. A guy who could play all over the place, draw a lot of walks. 1-7 here is single 1-11, and he gets it on a 5. 2 on for Campaneris. 33, grounds into a fielder's choice, short B. Runners in the corners, they're going to go up and hold for Cepeda. 2-4, short A, would have been no play, you played it back, they played it up. Now I got second and third, 2 outs for Reggie. 4-4 is short X. And then Foley's good, he's a 2E29 at shortstop, and he makes the play. Toronto continues their surprisingly good play. Into the 4th. Milt May. 2-7, Milt May is a base hit. Tommy A.G. 1-5 is a walk. 2 on for Jim Brazil. 2-5 is a fielder's choice. You got runners on the corners, 1 out. They'll bring the infield up since the Blue Jays did it. Ivan Morel, 1-7. Let's take a look at the Ivan Morel card of 1971. He was a Padre, hit .235, 7 home runs, 258 5 at-bats. But here he gets to play in a platoon with Bill Voss. Each guy, that's a pretty good platoon. If you don't let Morel face any righties. 1-7, automatic, that's gone. That's a 3-run homer. My goodness, homer on 1-7 and a 1-12 chance on 8. That's not a fluke, folks. This guy can rake lefties. Ivan Morel, 3-run bomb off of the Blue Vida. And we've got a stunned Coliseum here. A 3-0 game. Monzon. 49 is second X. This is Foy, not good defensively, a 40-34. And that is a single. Dick Green is wincing on the bench, knowing he could have gobbled that ball up. Alanier. 1-7 is a 6-4-3 double play. Tough break there for the Blue Jays. But they have a 3-0 lead. Bottom of the 4th. It is Joe Rudy. 58, second X. Monzon's a 4-11 second baseman. Makes the play. Paul Washington, 45. Sky's the center. Sal Bando, 412. Sky's to right field. Jerry Royce, 2-hit shutout through 4. That's big. He's not had a great... He's probably been the weakest of all the Toronto pitchers, but he's doing it today. Top of the 5th, Carl Taylor, 1-7. Grounds are short. Tim Foley, 5'11", second X. This is Mr. Foy again, but he makes the play on his 4-ness. And Mike Lum, 1-4. That is a fly ball to center field. 3-0 Blue Jays. Bottom of the 5th. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
All right, bottom of the 5th. It'll be Mike Hegan. 56. That's going to be triple 1 of 4. Oh, he gets it. It's a triple. Rolls to the wall here in the Coliseum. He's at third. 3-0 lead. They're going to play back for tennis. 1-4 is a center B question mark. You got AG's got a -3 arm there. What are you going to do, Hegan? 14 runner. 15-16. He's going to run the 13. Nobody out. And he scores on a 13. A little aggressive. Surprisingly for the A's, you figure they're, you know, super confident in this series, but that's an aggressive play to run with nobody out. So yeah, just double checking. Hegan's a 14, +2 for a sac fly. I'll make it a 16. And the -3 arm for AG. He gets the 13 on a 13. Close play at the plate. Milt May's a little disappointed. He thought he got the tag on him, but he didn't. 3-1. 1 out, Joe Foy. 1-9, and he's on again with a walk. Been on twice. Bert Campaneris, 6'10". Third X. Third baseman, Hal Lanier, 2E15, longtime Giant and Dodger. And it's a fielder's choice. That puts Campaneris at first. He's going to take off, even with Cepeda up. And he steals second base. Runner in scoring position for the great Orlando Cepeda. 68 flies to left field. Jerry Royce survives the 5th inning. It's 3-1. Typical Blue Jay game. They get one swing on a Morel card, and they have a 2-run lead against Vida Blue. Top of the 6th. It's Milt May. 1-7. Pops to first. Tommy A.G. 3-6. Let's take a look at Tommy's card. He has brought the 69 Met philosophy here to Toronto. The Mets just gave up on this guy 2 years ago. And then last year, the Mets gave up on Don Clendenon, and Tommy got on the phone and said, hey, man, you got to come up here to Toronto. We got something special going on. 3-6 for Tommy A.G. Homer, 1-2-12. He can't convert. It's going to be a double. It's off the wall there. Runner at second for Jim Brazil. 1-8 for Brazil. Let's take a look at this guy. A former Atlanta Brave farmhand, pinch hitter, 5 homers, 85 at-bats. Has a fantastic symmetry here. Great find for an expansion team. This is what I'm talking about, folks. Toronto, you don't have the names that you can associate with success, but they've got a lot of really good extra player cards and short samples that do quite well, and Jim Brazil is one of them. 1-8 is a single to right field. AG against the arm of Reggie, -5, and even AG says, wait a minute. No, we got a long inning here, so they're going to put the brakes on at third base. Runners in the corners, 1 out. They got to bring it up, and here he is, folks. Ivan Morel, 3-run homers last time up, looking for another one. Here's the pitch to Ivan Morel. 52 of the infield up is a sac fly to right field, and it's a 4-1 game. We'll take that. He gets a round of high fives here. Dan Monson, runner at first, 2 outs. 5-11, second X. Here's our boy Foy. Here we go again. He's an E34. And in there, error on Joe Foy. And the inning continues. 2 on, 2 outs. The Blue Jays, one of the best 2-out hitting teams in the sport for whatever reason. It'll be Hal Lanier, your number 9 hitter. 57 off of Blue is a strikeout. So, Vida Blue. These Blue Jays, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 men reached in 6 innings against your 1971 most valuable player in the American League, 24-game winner, and a 191 ERA, Vida Blue. Blue Jays are like, blew this. We got your Vida Blue. We're the Blue Jays. Bottom of the 6th, 4-1. It'll be Reggie. 35 is single 1-9, and he gets it. A's Steeler Reggie. He'll hang there for Rudy, Joe Rudy. 65 Rudy, second C. Reggie's at second with 1 out for Claudell Washington. 3-11 for Claudell is a ground ball to second. And Reggie's now at third base, but there's 2 outs for Sal Bando. 33 Bando grounds to short. I don't think Royce can lose this game. He's a starter 7. He'll be gone before the A's bring the lead run to the plate. Pretty sure. Into the 7th we go. Top of the lineup for your Toronto Blue Jays. Against Blue, it's Carl Taylor. 2-9 is going to be a single. They keep coming in waves at you, folks. Tim Foley. 6-10, short X. This is Campaneris, improved his defense from a year ago. He was making all sorts of errors in the playoffs. This year's a 2E27. Big moment here. Got to get that double play if you can. And, well, he gets a fielder's choice. Can't convert the double play, though. Foley is a B stealer. Got a 0-arm catcher here, but I don't like to steal with 1 out, maybe 2. Mike Lum will swing away. 67 off Blue is a K, and with 2 outs, old Tim Foley's going to take off for second base. And he is out stealing on an 18. Well, it didn't work. Any defense to help Royce? Well, you kind of do have some defense here. You've got a few guys. Actually, you have 3 guys, all on the bench who are better defensively. Case by case, let's get Don Clendenon in this game and have him play first base. We'll get Carl Taylor out of there. You got a 3 second baseman, Darrell Chaney, on the bench for Monzon. Let's do that. Go from a 4 to a 3. And I don't know about taking Ivan Morel out. He's driven in all 4 runs. I'm going to leave him in the game for now. He's a 2E8, and Bill Voss is a 2E4, so I'm not really going to sweat that. In the bottom of the 7th, now Jerry Royce. You got the bottom half here. Hegan, Tennis, Foy, Campaneris. Actually, Hegan against lefties is very good against Royce. Not that crazy about Foy and so forth. Here we go. Bottom of the 7th, it's Mike Hegan. 42 rolls to first. Gene Tennis. Doesn't really matter. He's symmetry left and right. 412 flies to right field. These are really bad rolls they're getting too, Oakland. That's another part of the Toronto mystic. Their opponents roll terrible dice rolls. 2 outs now. It's Joe Foy. 45 flies to right field. 6 in a row retired by Jerry Royce. 4-1 game in the Coliseum. My goodness. Top of the 8th. It's going to be Milt May. 45 off of blue. Homer 1-4. Fly ball the rest. It is gone off of the blue card. A solo shot. This is all sorts of bananas, folks. It's Homer 1-4. Fly ball the rest if you have power. Milt May, a left-handed hitter with just 17% against. Let's look at the Milt May card. Here's the Milt May card. He hit .278 with 6 homers, 126 at-bats. Most of the time, you'd see him, dominate righties or whatever, and have nothing against lefties. But Strat-O-Matic gave him symmetry. They gave him the same card to lefties, righties virtually. They don't do that a lot when you have such a different split percentage-wise. But he gives them power. Actually has more homers by a 5% chance against lefties and righties anyway. That is gone. We got a 5-1 game. My goodness, folks. Cinderella, we talked about this before. Clock struck midnight a long time ago for Cinderella. She partied till dawn. She got up. She made some coffee. She went out for a jog, and she's going for day 2 with this thing. And maybe midnight will come on day 2. But Cinderella is like blowing every aspect of the anomaly out here. This is the greatest performance by the expansion team that I can recall in quite some time. If they make it to the divisional round, that would be stunning. Tommy A.G., 211, short. Brazil, 57 is a K, and with 2 outs. Ivan Morel, 38. The dangerous Morel is a single. You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him. Ivan Morel, 2 for 3 with 4 RBI today. And with 2 outs, it'll be Darrell Chaney. 43 off of blue, left X. Joe Rudy's a 182 out there. Virtually impossible to get on base. And he's out. We got a 4-run game. Got to win this if you're the Blue Jays. Got to finish this off. They have an outstanding closer, Joe Grisenda. Elias Sosa is good. But Jerry Royce is actually... The guy you'd have to be nervous about is Reggie versus lefties. He's very good, and Royce is bad against lefties. So if Campaneris and Cepeda reach, we'll probably take old Royce out. Jerry Royce with just 4 hits, a triple sac fly is it. Bottom of the 8th, all the Blue Jay defense is in there. It's Bert Campaneris. 57 is a K. Orlando Cepeda, 0 for 3. 47, and that's a walk. And now you got to be careful here with Reggie. And I think with 5 outs to get, and Doyle Alexander pitching in Game 2, who's a much better pitcher for the Blue Jays, we've got all we can get. We're going to pull Jerry Royce after 7 1/3. He's the worst pitcher the Blue Jays have. And now you got a pretty darn good bullpen. Rorick Harrison, Sosa, Grisenda, and Hennigan's not that bad. We're going to go Rorick Harrison, the righty. Will come on in. Look at this guy. He's a Baltimore Oriole. They have Doyle Alexander in the rotation. He's a Baltimore Oriole. Rorick Harrison in the bullpen. He was a Baltimore Oriole in '72 with a 2.30 ERA. Orioles couldn't keep all their guys. Mets couldn't keep all their guys. Mets are done. Their season's already over. They flamed out. But the ex-players are enjoying their fun in Canada here. Rorick Harrison comes on in the 8th. With 1 on and 1 out, he will face Reggie. And Cepeda can just stay in the game. They don't need his base running here. Down 4 runs. The pitch to Reggie. 55 off of Rorick. He's going to convert. This is going to be double 1-12. It's a base hit. Reggie, yes, he's the best hitter. He has led the A's all year. So he has lived up to the MVP. He's carried the A's all year long. The best hitter, best power, and he even has the stolen base advantage over Bert Campaneris. That's how great Reggie has been. So he gets on when they need him to get on. Now you got, they're going to play back and hold and hope they don't get that plus. They want to get a double play. Rorick Harrison is good against righties, so playing back, the pitch to Joe Rudy. 68. That'll be a sac fly. Not a big deal. It's 5-2. And with 2 outs, it'll be Claudell Washington. Has done virtually nothing all year for these Oakland A's. 1-5 for Claudell. Flies to right field. We go to the 9th. I mean, what do you do if you're Oakland? You got to take Vida Blue out or not? It's a starter 9. He's a most valuable player. You literally have Hal Lanier and Tim Foley coming up this inning. I mean, they're not the type of guys to create a pitching change. So Blue's going to continue into the 9th. It's Hal Lanier leading off. 36. Single 1-2-15. Excuse me. That's a base hit for Hal Lanier. Back up top, but now you got Clendenon in that leadoff spot, replacing Taylor. 69 off of Blue, flies to left. Tim Foley. 67's a K, and with 2 outs, it's the all-star outfielder, Mike Lum. Went to the all-star game for these Blue Jays. 1-6 is a base hit. 2 on, 2 outs for Milt May, who homered in the 8th inning. He's been on 3 for 4 today. And Lightning can strike twice in 2 innings against the greatest pitcher of 1971, one of the greatest MVP pitchers of all time, Vida Blue. Here's the pitch. 1-6 to Milt May, flies to center field. Bottom of the 9th. By the way, we missed our stretch time music. We went right through that stop sign there because we've been so excited about this Blue Jay performance. We've been enjoying Reuben Wilson's Groovy Situation of 1971. Great stuff on the keys there by Reuben Wilson. Played out of Pasadena, California. Reasonable to assume he was a big Oakland A fan during this time. We hope he is. And I hope he's rooting for his A's. They're down 3 in the 9th. It is 5-2 in the bottom of the 9th. Rorik Harrison will start the inning. We'll probably face the righties Bando and Tennis. Then they'll switch to Grisenda. I'm probably thinking that. And leading off here in the 9th, it is Sal Bando. 49 off Harrison is a K. Mike Hegan. 1-8 for Hegan is a K, and with 2 outs, it's Gene Tennis. Let's take a look at Tennis's card. Trying to avoid the embarrassment of losing to a fictional team in the playoffs. Gene Tennis had a magnificent 73. 24 homers, 101 walks. He actually was not very good in 72, besides the World Series. He hit like 230 or something. Anyway, Gene Tennis with 2 outs. Needs a walk here to keep Oakland alive. Here's the pitch. 1-8 for Tennis. He connects. Double 1-10. It's a base hit. Now back up top, you got Joe Foy. On your bench, you got, well, Tom Haller, Angel Mangual, Dick Green. You know, oh boy. You got to get a lefty in here against Harrison. And they can turn us around. They can do a double switch, too. They're going to go Tom Haller to pinch hit here. And I don't know. I don't think I want to go to Grisenda and have Grisenda face Orlando Cepeda as the thing gets ugly. So Tom Haller will pinch hit here. Let's take a look at him. Has power. He's not particularly a scary hitter here. He's a 267 hitter, but he hits lefties, and Harrison's worse against lefties. But I think I want to leave Harrison pitch all the way through to Campaneris. So, runner at first, 2 outs. The pitch to Tom Haller. 2-5, the pinch hitter flies to center field, and that is your ball game. Break up the Blue Jays. He did it again. How do they keep doing this, folks? Almost won the East, had to settle for a wild card. They get a 5-out save by their long man, Rorik Harrison, who's much better than a long man. They win game 1, 5-2. Pretty kooky stuff here in the playoffs. This could be one of the biggest upsets we've ever had. Vida Blue loses. He gave up everything, 12 hits and 5 runs, the 3-run homer, a sac fly, another solo shot. Walk 2, struck out 9, did get a complete game. Harrison does finish this thing. Nice job for Rorik. Has not been asked to close out games. He's been a long man. Sosa's normally the guy to close out games, but Harrison just matches up well against a right-handed dominant Oakland team. Campaneris, Cepeda, Joe Rudy, Sal Bando, Gene Tennis, Dick Green, Angel Mangual. They don't only have 4 lefties on the whole team. So we could see a lot of Rorik Harrison in this series. Jerry Royce, what a day. 6 hits, 2 sac flies. They were earned. Walked 4, struck out 6. Gets a victory. 1019, 0109, 51226, 2946, 4629. Look at those Blue Jays. They are happy together. They are just a wonderful group collection of players. They've been doing this in March, April, May, June, July, August. You get the idea. September. They have not let up from their winning ways. And in the second half of last year, they also played well and almost made the playoffs a year ago. I think you could point to the fact that there's no glaring weakness. They aren't awful at anything, is Toronto. They have good pitching. They got a good bullpen. Their lineup is reasonable. They got a pretty good defense. They got AG as a 2 with a -3 arm in center field. That'll help. Tim Foley's a 2 shortstop. That'll help. Their catcher can throw. Milt May's got a -2 arm. They got a whole bunch of power and tiny little bit of speed. You know, they're just an imitation of a lot of these playoff teams. But sometimes, well, I mean, the Cincinnati Reds are better than the Blue Jays, as are the Dodgers, as are the Mets. They're all done. They all had losing records, as a matter of fact. They're all done. All those teams are better than Toronto. Oakland falls to 24-16, hitting .275 with a 3.45 ERA. Vida Blue is 6-6. He's pitched 101 innings. He's given up 39 earned runs. He's sporting a 3.48 ERA for a card that plays 191, supposedly. Has 6 complete games. We mentioned Reggie leads the club in homer and RBI and hits. And stolen bases, yes. Oh, he's 2 stolen bases behind Campaneris. Reggie's 54 for 165. And your Blue Jays, actually better than Oakland. They're 25-18. Oh, excuse me, not. They're 25-16. My bad. I was looking at the Yankees. 25-18. Blue Jays are 25-16. You want to prorate that to a full baseball season? That's 100 wins and 64 losses. Nothing fluky. They've been doing it like this all year. They're at 257 with a 3.42 ERA. They've scored 170 runs. They've given up 162 runs. 8 more runs, 9 more wins. That's crazy. Carl Morton, the number 3 starter, is 8-1. Jerry Royce, who just won that game, is 3-2. Joe Grisenda, who was not brought in to close this one out, has 12 saves and given up 6 runs in 27 innings. Rorik Harrison, that's his first save of the year. First one, because he's been the long man. Rorik Harrison's 4-1 with 1 save, giving up 6 runs in 20 innings. They got a bunch of guys with home runs, 6, 7, or 8. You got AG, Brazil, Clendenon. You got Milt May, of course, at 1. And you got Ivan Morel. Ivan is 28 for 81. That's pretty good. So Ivan Morel's hitting 346 in a platoon role with 5 homers and 16 RBIs. So, yeah, pretty good stuff out of these Blue Jays. Game 1 is in the books. I'll play the games 2 and 3, and then we'll get you into a potential. Well, it could be Blue Jays could sweep them for all we know. That would be hilarious. Anyway, game 2, it'll be Catfish Hunter for Oakland, and it will be indeed Doyle Alexander. Oh boy, Oakland, you need to win this one. Doyle Alexander is pretty close to being as good as Catfish Hunter, man, and 2.46 ERA for Doyle. Then in Game 3, Clyde Wright, Kenny Holtzman, and then the 8-1 Carl Morton, and a possible clinching Game 4 before Jerry Royce again if necessary. So we'll resume that, and we'll give you the results of this wild card round after a break. So stay tuned. Okay, folks, we got some exciting stuff happening here. This is game one. This is the final. You saw Toronto 5-2 victors on the road, beating up Vita Blue. 9 innings, 12 hits, 5 runs, all earned off of Vita Blue. Jerry Royce, 7 1/3 innings, just 6 hits, 2 runs. But it was the great relief performance by Rorik Harrison, getting 5 outs and preventing the A's from coming back. So what happens in Game 2 in Oakland? Surely they can even the series up. They're the Dynasty A's. They have Catfish Hunter out there. Game 2, but Toronto has Doyle Alexander out there. The A's strike first in the bottom half of the first. A single, wild pitch, a couple singles. It's 1-0. And how do you beat Catfish Hunter? How do you do it? I've been saying this over and over again. Well, you need about 4 solo home runs, or 3 or 2, but that's your best chance of scoring off Catfish Hunter. In the 5th inning, Jim Brazil, solo shot. We are tied at 1. And Doyle Alexander and Catfish Hunter are throwing goose eggs up there until the 9th, when number 3 hitter Mike Lum went to the All-Star game. He's a, you could call him the Canadian Reggie Jackson via Hawaii, I believe. Been impersonating Reggie Jackson in right field. My goodness, he's a 2. He's got a minus arm, high E rating, bats 3rd. Hits a solo homer. It's 2-1. 2 solo homers off of Catfish Hunter. Bottom of the 9th, Doyle Alexander going for the CG. Joe Rudy gets the first out. Then Reggie, he gets the double. Of course he does. He's carrying this Oakland team. He's 2 for 4 today. But Sal Bando grounds out, and number 6 hitter Tom Haller. If you bring in the righty, they're not any good against righties. They're better against lefties. So Haller bats, and he fouls out. The Blue Jays have done it. They've won 2 games in Oakland. They fly to Canada. They need to win a game. Game 3, Clyde Wright. Game 4, they'll have Carl Morton, who's 8-1. But let's not go past ourselves here. We are approaching, this is like March Madness, where the 16 seed beats the 1 seed. This is sort of like when Virginia lost to UMBC, or Coppin State, or George Mason, or Villanova makes the finals. This is the level of absurdity we have in baseball here, in a sport where it's almost impossible to overcome a dynasty. The Blue Jays are knocking on this door to do it. We are in Game 3. Here we are. But Oakland is ready. And in this game, they are ready for Clyde Wright. And in the 2nd inning, they have their way with Clyde Wright. Single, walk, a single, a 3-run homer by Orlando Cepeda. He did that to the White Sox a few times. He's done it today. 6 runs in the 2nd. The Blue Jays cobbled together some runs. Then the A's got a few more. So it's an 8-2 game in the 7th. Looking like Oakland's going to win this. I'll play this thing out in case the... got to put the right emblems here. Maybe that's what jinxed the home team. We will play this out, and then we'll play game 4, if there is one. It'll be Joe Rudy leading off in the top of the 7th, off of the reliever Phil Hennigan. 210 grounds the 3rd. Bando 1-8. K's. And Gene Tennis. 2-7 is single 1-10. Gets it. And Angel Mangual in center field. 47's a K. Stretch time here in Toronto. They are down 8-2 in a Game 3. There's still plenty of enthusiasm. They know they could win Game 4, or they can go back to Oakland and win Game 5. We are enjoying, of course, Rush. A very, very young Geddy Lee is checking out the new baseball team in town. 1974 debut LP by Rush, playing in the background here. Bottom of the 7th, Ken Cinderella, who's already got 2 road wins against the Big Bad Dynasty A's. Could they theoretically get 6 runs in the last 3 innings against Kenny Holtzman? Leading off in the bottom of the 7th, it's Tommy A.G. 2-7 A.G. singles. Jim Brazil, 38. Oh, that's a 6-4-3 double play. That's a tough one. Von Morel, the big star of Game 1, 38, another single. Holtzman's a starter 8. No danger of breaking. Dan Monson, 311, flies the center. Hennigan continues into the 8th. Dick Green, 57, is a K. Joe Foy will stick around. 1-5 against a righty is a double. Campaneris, 2-4, short. And Cepeda, 47, is a K. He'll leave the game. Don't need him anymore with a 6-run lead. Better defensive Hegan will take over at first base. 6 outs to go for Holtzman and I guess Raleigh Fingers if necessary. Hal Lanier, bottom of the 8th. 49, second X. This is Dick Green at 2E12. Wait a minute, gotta put in an E rating. Makes the play. Carl Taylor, 37's a walk. Tim Foley, 37's a single. Here we go. One more batter to break Holtzman. Mike Lum, he's still the hero here in Toronto. He won game 2. 48 off of Holtzman. This is going to be second X, and this is Dick Green, who probably will be playing second base. They're not going to let Foy, who DH'd, play second base again in this series. 2E12. It's a ground ball C, though. Second and third, 2 outs for Milt May. 58. Holtzman has really been tough today with 2 outs. Short X. Campaneris at 2E27. He's had his struggles in playoff defense, but he makes the play there. And once again, the Blue Jays have just left too many men on base and too much to overcome early, looks like, into the 9th. Hennigan will leave after 2. We'll go Sosa in the 9th for an inning. It'll be Reggie. He's got 2 more hits today. 36 is a walk. Joe Rudy, 1-9. That's a single. Station to station. Bando, 2-6. Single 1-12. Single. Getting loaded here. Gene Tennis. 212 K plus injury. He'll come back tomorrow. Don't worry about that injury. Angel Mangual, 43. The injuries, you automatically come out of the game, but you're back the next day. 43, left X. Morel's a 2E8. That'll be a sac fly. 9-2. Academic here, other than putting Joe Foy in at third base. Dick Green, 68. Single 1-6. Can't get it. All right, so Joe Foy will take over at third base. And Kenny Holtzman, 9-2 game. I think he's going to try and finish it. 2 batters breaks him. Have a fully available bullpen for games 4 and 5 if necessary. Tommy A.G., 35. He's on again with a walk. He goes down to second without a throw. Indifference there. Jim Brazil, 54. Off of Holtzman's car. Here we go. Homer 1-17. Misses it. Gets the double. More importantly, it does break Holtzman. It's 9-3. So Kenny will leave after 8 innings and a couple batters. And I think you go Fingers. You haven't used him yet. Yeah, Raleigh Fingers is coming in. It's not a save situation, but he hasn't played in the series. And he needs to get 3 out. So he'll come on in the 9th with a huge lead of 6 runs. It'll be Yvonne Morel. He'll bat. 69, second. Monson, 53, first C. Hal Lanier, 37, is a K. And there's your ball game. Oakland gets the road win they had to have to avoid an embarrassing sweep. Toronto still very much alive, leading 2-1 in this series. And we'll continue into the next elimination game until the series is over. We'll be back in a moment. All right, we are right back here in the Game 4. It is Lynn McLaughlin, the shakiest pitcher on Oakland staff, against Carl Morton, the number 3 starter of the Blue Jays, who's 8-1. And here we are. We've gone through 6 frames, and folks, there has been a tide shift here. The A's back to their old ways here. 2 out, single by Bando. Solo homer by Rudy. 2 out, triple by the 3-for-3 Dick Green. A Claudel Washington sighting. He triples and scores. It's 5-0. Lynn McLaughlin. Very unlikely. 2-0 shutout. He's been awful this year. They've been trying to hide him. But now they need him to keep their season alive to get this thing back to Vita Blue in the Oakland Coliseum, and he's doing a fantastic job. It's 5-0. And that's where we pick up in the 7th inning. It's not going very well at all for Cinderella suddenly, as she has hit the wall hard here in Canada. Back home in Canada, the friendly confines have not been nice at all. Joe Rudy, 6'11", left X, your left fielder. Vasa 2E4 makes the catch. Reggie Jackson, 2-7, Ks. And Bando, 37, is a K. Nice inning there for Morton. Trying to keep his team in it. Stretch time again. Well, we're still listening to the same record we were listening to before. A little bit later into it now. But yeah, we're still listening to the Rush album of 74. Crossing our fingers, hoping for a rally. A little bit closer in Game 4 than they were in Game 3. It'll be Milt May. 69. That's double one single. This guy's throwing a shutout. I still don't think you want to go very long with him. Jim Brazil. 1-8 is a single, and that makes the point of weakness. McLaughlin hits it. I know what you're thinking, folks, but this win does, you got to get to 7. And so, yeah, it's a nice story for Lynn McLaughlin. He's going to leave after 6 and 2 batters as he hit his point of weakness. And with a 5-run lead, you've got Fingers, Hamilton, Locker, and Ron Taylor here. They're going to go Bob Locker in the 7th. Probably the second most reliable pitcher on the A's. Locker was a Seattle Pilot, and then he went to the A's, got a World Series ring. He was 7-2 with a 2.88 ERA in 71. Bob Locker trying to stop this threat here in the 7th. 2-1, nobody out. Dan Monson. Locker better against lefties and righties, and there's 2 lefties on deck. The pitch to Dan Monson. 33 is a short B fielder's choice. Runners on the corners with no speed. They'll play back, looking for a double play. Bill Voss. 210 Bill Voss, and that is your 4-6-3 double play, and we have seen a lot of this now. That's double play in the 4th, in the 5th, and 7 innings, and suddenly we're getting close to midnight here with the Blue Jays. It's 5-zip in the 8th. Tom Haller. 1-5, grounds the first. Gene Tennis, 1-5, grounds the short. And Claudel Washington, 1-3, pops to third. 8 in a row by Carl Morton. Nice finish here in a potentially winnable game. So Angel Miguel will take over in center for Claudel Washington. Bottom of the 8th for Bob Locker. He, Fingers, and Hamilton need 6 outs to send it to the Coliseum. Darrell Cheney, 68, is a K. Tommy A.G. 57, single 1-6. Can't get it. And with 2 outs, it's Tim Foley, a single. And 2 outs, Mike Lum. 5-10. Catcher's card. Tennis is a 4-7. Catcher. Inning is over. 5-zip in the 9th. Carl Morton's just going to go out there. And it'll be all hands on deck on a Game 7, on a Game 5 in the Coliseum, we believe, with asking Jerry Royce to beat Vida Blue twice in 5 days. It'll be Dick Green. 68, it's a single. Campaneris. 38 is single 1-9. Lines out on a 12. Mike Hegan, 58, is a single. And I think you got to try. They're going to get him out of here. 8 1/3. We have Garzenda come on in, see if we can get a couple outs here. Hasn't pitched a lot in the series. He'll be fully available for Game 5 anyway. We can just get through the 9th inning. Joe Rudy. 110, but Joe Rudy gives another run. A single, and that's an RBI. First and second for Reggie. 49. Second X. Got a 3 second baseman. Ground ball C. Second and third for Bando. 45. Oh boy, that's double 1-7. That's a 2-run single. Yes, folks, the Oakland A's, they've righted the ship here. Haller, K's. It is 8-zip. And once again, I think they're going to go to Ron Taylor in the 9th. Save Fingers a little bit so he has extended use in a Game 5. Vida Blue can go 10 innings in Game 5 if needed. Don Clendenon in the 9th. 48. Single 1-9. 16 off the pitcher as a base hit. Milt May, 57, lines out. Brazil, 1-7. Homer 1-4, fly ball. He gets the homer. And there goes your shutout. It is 8-2. Dan Monson, 39. Grounds to short, and with 2 outs. Bill Voss, 36. Homer 1 of 7 fly ball, and it's a fly ball and an 18. An 8-2 victory for Oakland in Game 4. The road team has won everything. And now Cinderella has got to do the remarkable again. They have to go back to Oakland Coliseum, where they're undefeated this year, and beat Vita Blue twice in 5 days. That's the task. We'll see if it happens. See you soon. Okay, folks, these are the box scores of the last few games that were in Toronto and Oakland. A 9-3 victor. Holtzman gave up 10 hits in 8 innings and 3 runs. Clyde Wright got knocked around, 8 runs in 6 innings. Pretty easy win in Game 3, 9-3. And then the box score, almost an identical game. 8-2 is the final in the next game, in Game 4. Lynn McLaughlin, 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 3 walks, 4 Ks. Locker and Taylor get the last 9 outs. They beat up Carl Morton, who was 8-1 prior to that. 11 hits, 7 runs. So it is up to Game 5. It's a 1-game season. 1-game season for the Toronto Blue Jays versus Vita Blue. I'll take my chances, right? I mean, my goodness. Here we are. What is going on in Game 5? Again, it's Jerry Royce and Vita Blue. Toronto won this matchup 5-2 the first time around. Bottom of the 2nd inning, the A's strike with a single, and a double. They get a run, leave runners on base. Royce, 3 up and 3 down, 3 up and 3 down, here. In the bottom of the 6th inning, though, after a double and a K, who else? Reggie Jackson rolls 1-5 on his card. I know what you're thinking. I mean, if you're going to start intentionally walking him every time he's up, like they did with Barry Bonds that one season, I don't like to play that stuff. I mean, 1-5, you're going to hit a homer off of anybody. 2-run blast, it's 3-0. But meanwhile, folks, Vita Blue is dialing this thing in. No, it's not a perfect game. There's a walk here in the 4th inning and a double play. He's faced 18 batters, the minimum. He's got a 3-0 lead. He doesn't need any more defense. That's already in there. He's got a 3-run lead. He needs 9 outs. He's a starter 9, can pitch 10 if necessary. And this is the Oakland season right here. They're relying on Vita Blue to punch this thing out. Highly unlikely we'll see Fingers and Locker and Hamilton when you've got Vita Blue on the mound. So here we are in the top of the 7th. It's Carl Taylor for the Blue Jays. 47's a walk. There's a good start. He's walked twice. No one else has reached. Tim Foley, 65, left C. Mike Lum, the All-Star, 37, and there is a clean double 1 of 17. Double for Mike Lum, and there goes your no-hitter. We got rid of the perfect game. We got rid of the no-hitter. Next up, the shutout. 2 on, 1 out. Your tie run is Milt May, who homered off of Vita Blue in Game 1. Here's the pitch to Milt May. 37, he connects. This is a single dot, and it's a 2-run single, and the Blue Jays have cut the lead to 1. In the 7th off of Vita Blue, who had thrown a no-hitter through 6 innings. And now the Blue Jays will bring the lead run to the plate. Tommy A.G., and unfortunately the A's don't have anybody up in the bullpen here. And Blue's got to figure this inning out suddenly with 1 out. Tommy A.G. 110 flies to center. And with 2 outs, it is Jim Brazil. 46 off of Blue. This is triple 1-2, single the rest. It will be the single the rest. The Blue Jays have the tie run 90 feet away. And Yvonne Morel, who had a 3-run homer in Game 1 and had 4 RBIs against Blue, will step into the box. Vita Blue is not going nowhere, which is a double negative. I don't care. He's not going anywhere. The pitch to Yvonne Morel. 4-4 off of Vita Blue, but this is how great Vita Blue is. It is a homer chance. It is homer 1-5. Fly ball the rest, and unfortunately, it is fly ball the rest. This is what happens, if you're wondering, When you win 24 games and have a 1.82 ERA in 312 innings, very seldom do you give up automatic homers in your column on 4-4. And that is the case today. The ball settles on the warning track, dangerously close. 3-2 game. The Blue Jays have finally showed up. They didn't show up the last 2 times, but they are not going to go quietly. Stretch time back in Oakland. They've switched the DJ. We're listening to Shuggy Otis, his Inspiration Information Wings of Love LP, Sparkle City, Out of My Head. We got Island Letter. Great stuff here by the great Johnny Otis kid, Shuggy Otis. Bottom of the 7th. Jerry Royce. They've cut the lead to 1. And you got Gene Tennis, Dick Green, and Campaneris. I think the hero of Game 1 was the relief performance of Rorik Harrison. He's going to be coming in here now. They got so close, they can't afford to let that lead go away. So Jerry Royce, more typical performance here. 3 runs in 6 innings for his card. But Rorik Harrison knocks down those righties, and there's a bunch of them. There's Tennis, Green, Campaneris, Hegan, Cepeda, Rudy, and Bando, and Mangual. So a bunch of righties coming up here in the bottom of the 7th. And it'll be Gene Tennis. 6'10", short X. This is Foley, a 2E29 shortstop, and he makes the play. Dick Green, he's been the catalyst since they got rid of Foy and not having play second base anymore. Green's had a 3-hit game, and he has been starting in their 2-game winning streak here. Dick Green. 1-9 against the righty for Dick Green is single 1-4. He lines out on an 8. And with 2 outs, it's Bert Campaneris. 43, left X. Or is that right X? Right X. Right X is Lum, a 2E10 in right field. That's a double off the 2 range. That's a tough break for the Blue Jays. Got to squeeze this one. It's Mike Hegan with 2 outs. This is a tough battle here. Hegan hits lefties and righties. You got Cepeda on deck. They're going to pitch to him. Probably not a good move. They're going to pitch to Hegan. Runner on second and 2 outs. Here's the pitch. 49 off Harrison. This is short X. Won't score the run. It's a 2E29 at short. It's already set up. And it's a ground ball C. And if you're Oakland, getting a little nervous here. It's just a 1-run game. You got house money Blue Jays against trying to live up to the dynasty, the pressure of that Oakland A's. The pressure is clearly on the home team here. And Vida Blue has suddenly looked very ordinary as the Blue Jays, had 7 guys bat in the previous inning against him. Again, there's no defense to bring in. It'll be Dan Monson leading off in the 8th. 32, short. Hal Lanier. 310. Let's take a look at the Hal Lanier card because he got a hit off of it. Yeah, he hit 233. Did it with the Giants. He was mostly a middle infielder, but in this particular year, he's getting very old. He's a utility player, and he's got some range at third base. He grades out as a 2E15 third baseman. And his biggest hit thus far in his Blue Jay career, it's a leadoff single, or it's not a leadoff single. It's a single in the 8th inning with 1 out. He represents the tie run against Vida Blue. We're back up top to Carl Taylor, who seems to be the only guy taking enough pitches and figuring out Blue. He's reached 2 out of 3 times. Doesn't hit into a lot of double plays. Pitch to Carl Taylor. Got to stay out of that double play. 5-10 off of Blue is a K. And with 2 outs, it's Tim Foley, the shortstop. Foley doesn't have any power, just wants to keep this inning going if he can. The pitch to Tim Foley. 62 off of Blue. Okay, this is no, it's pitcher B. I thought it was pitcher X. It's pitcher B. The inning's over. It is a 1-run game. Oh my goodness, folks. Bottom of the 8th. Cepeda will swing away because he's got homers on 8 and 9 on his card. No reason to pinch hit for the guy just because you got a righty in there. Orlando Cepeda. 1-5. And that is a fly ball to left. And now you got Reggie. What do you do here? So let's go out with your best. We're going to pull Rorik Harrison after an inning and a third, and we're going to bring in the best pitcher on the Blue Jays the last few years, Joe Grisham. And if they Blue Jays tie or take a lead in the ninth, we'll continue. Joe Grisham is a relief 3, was a Washington Senator with a 5-2 record and a 193 ERA in 70 innings. He's been to 3 All-Star games representing the Blue Jays. Back when the Blue Jays were terrible, he was their lone representative. They've since gotten better and sent guys like Mike Lum to the All-Star game. So here we are in the 8th inning. Joe Grisham versus Reggie, trying to figure out how to stop Reggie, who has just been tearing up all year long. Regular season, postseason, playoffs. He has carried the A's on his back. And they're looking for an insurance run here. Pitch to Reggie. 64 off Grisham is catcher's card. And you got a 2-6 catcher. And that's an out. And with 2 outs, it is Joe Rudy. 110 Rudy singles. Runner at first, 2 outs for Sal Bando. 6-10 off Grisham. Short X again. Foley has held up all series. A 2-29. Needs to make one more defensive play here. And he does. And we got a 1-run game. In Game 5 of the Wild Card Series here, we got home run hitters. Milt May. Lum has some. AG's got power. Brazil. Solo homer ties this thing. 2-run homer. And the dynasty might not happen. Vida Blue's going out there in the 9th. He's only the most valuable player. You got to beat the most valuable player with the Cinderella. It's 11:52 p.m. The carriage and the pumpkins are nearby as Cinderella on a 3-day bender has finally faced midnight. After partying beyond midnight the last few series. Mike Lum leads off. We'll show you the cards as we get this thing wrapped up. Mike Lum, he went to the All-Star game. His best career year was 1973. A full season of 550 plate appearances and a 294 batting average. That's why he's Toronto's arguably best hitter at 294. The pitch to Mike Lum. 57 off of blue is a K. Now you got Milt May. We'll show you the card again. Plenty of homer opportunity here on 3-5, 3-6, or on blue 4-4's automatic. Milt May, 1 for 3 today, had the 2-run single in the 7th. The pitch to Milt May. 1-5 for May is a fly ball to right. And with 2 outs, it comes down to one of the Mets. Not Clendon, it's Tommy A.G. He's the guy who came here 2 years ago and improved the Blue Jays' fortune, and he's the guy. He bats leadoff against righties to get on base. He bats 5th against lefties because he's got plenty of power and extra base hits. We'll look at his card again. Has a homer chance on 3-6. Plenty of on-base opportunities against Vida Blue. It's only Tommy A.G. and the Miracle Mets mystique versus the 1971 most valuable player with 2 outs in the 9th inning of Game 5 of the final Wild Card Series. Oakland, if Vida Blue can punch this guy out, they got a ticket to Baltimore. If the Blue Jays can rally and win this thing, they got a ticket to Detroit. And here it is, the pitch to Tommy A.G. 2-7, he delivers. He's on base. It's a base hit to left field. Now, what is your decision? Do you hold him on so he doesn't get into scoring position for Jim Brazil? Or do you let him go down to second base? No, you don't put him in scoring position even against Vida Blue. You hold him on base. So the batter will be Jim Brazil. Let's take a look. And this is a dangerous guy here. Toronto's got what they want. They got plenty of home runs here. A left-handed hitting corner infielder. You project this guy out to a full season, he'll hit 30, 35 home runs. So this extra player card has a chance, just like AG, to screw up the Oakland dynasty. A plus will also continue this game. And here it is, the pitch to Jim Brazil. 2-10, and that's going to be a grounder to first base. Hegan picks it up. Vida Blue throws his glove in the air. They got the win, and this is a huge win for the Oakland A's. A team that went to the World Series a year ago drops 2 games in their own park. And the Toronto Blue Jays, Cinderella, it has struck midnight, and they are heartbroken. They were this close. This close, folks. They couldn't survive when they went home. Too much pressure. They came back. They could have folded up here in Oakland. They did not do it. You can't stop Reggie Jackson. You can't beat Vida Blue, but they came so close. It is a 3-2 final for the Oakland A's. And we'll take a look at the box here. We'll just do a wrap for the end of this. So Blue gets his complete game. 5 hits, 2 runs in the 7th inning. Got Ivan Morel, the guy with the 3-run homer in Game 1. He got him out with 2 runners on base. He walked 2, he struck out 7. You know, it's a great start for Blue in a playoff game, even though the competition isn't that great. Grisenda, he gave up a hit, but otherwise he got out of the mess. Rorik Harrison did a fine job, giving up just a hit. Jerry Royce, you know, it's a tough loss. He's a number 4 starter, though. What do you expect? He's a number 4 starter for a team that didn't exist. He's not supposed to pitch this well. He won Game 1. He pitched 6 innings, gave up 5 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts. 1009, 0108, 3725. And the crazy Oakland A's season. They ripped off 4 straight wins against the White Sox. Dropped 2 at home to Toronto. Then they got 3 straight wins. So they're 7-2. And the American League was crossing their fingers. I know the White Sox, the Tigers, and Orioles are hoping Toronto would do this thing. They could not close the deal. And when you look at the stats, it's hard to imagine how they could have even come close to closing the deal, as all the Toronto players are playing out of their minds. It's going to be a fun video when we do the Eliminating the Toronto Blue Jays video, which will come up tomorrow, because the stats are just going to be bananas, I'm sure. So here's Oakland. They were 8 over 500. The narrow victory here, they're 27-18. They're hitting .277 with a .335 ERA. You can win everything with that. They've scored 215 runs, have only given up 171. So you can see that Oakland has a huge run disparity. So they should be better than this. And they've been playing lousy competition for a nice chunk of the year. Toronto, finally, it's over for Cinderella. But what a year! 26-19 for the Blue Jays. That is stunning. That is for a bunch of players. We didn't give them any Hall of Famers, hardly any All-Stars, hardly any players of note, really. Just a collection of guys that weren't protected by their teams. They hit .252. They had a .359 ERA. Let's look a little closer. They scored 179 runs. They gave up 183 runs. So they gave up more runs than they scored, yet they finished 7 games over 500. So it was those narrow 1-run games, those runs scored with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. That's how Toronto made a living this year. We're going to plug in the results here on the wild card round, which is now over. The A's do win this round 3-2 and are 9 in games over 500. And you have Toronto 26-19. What a great year. And that means that Oakland has a date with Baltimore. And the White Sox. The White Sox go to Detroit. And here's the interesting story about this. So the divisional round the format I use is I borrow from the NBA. So just in the divisional round, I play 2-2, 1-1-1 in a best of 7, sort of like the NBA does. My reasoning for doing that was because the 1s and 2 seeds who had time off for some reason were not winning enough in the history of myself doing this, and I decided to go with this format to get Game 5 in the home city of a 1 and 2 seed, and that seems to have increased the winning percentage of the teams with byes. Now, the White Sox, however, they have this unique opportunity to use Wilbur Wood on 2 days rest, and they're going to exercise that, which means that Wood can pitch 3 times in a 7-game series. The only other time that can happen based on the way I have days off is in the World Series. The World Series, with an extra day off in there, you could have a pitcher pitch 3 times in 7 games. But in the case of Wilbur Wood, he can do that in the World Series. He can also do it in the League Championship Series and in the divisional round. So that kind of tightens things up a lot with the Tigers, as Mickey Lolich can only pitch twice, Joe Coleman, Bill Hands. That closes the gap here between the number 1 Tigers, 12 over 500, and the White Sox, 6 over 500. That's going to be a heck of a series. Oakland, Baltimore. Oh my goodness. The 71, the League Championship Series opponents from 71 through 74, with the Detroit in there once. Philadelphia and the Braves, Pittsburgh and the Giants. This is going to be a wild finish. But break up Oakland A's. I got to say, break up the Toronto Blue Jays for making it a series. They took it to 5 games. They're the only team to go to 5 games and lose in the wild card round. The Oakland A's win this series 3-2. Thanks for checking this out, and we'll see you next time.